the United States has another problem on its hands because in a recent national address, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, he stated and warned Western nations that Russia could potentially strike with a nuclear weapon. That was what was said just recently. I'm going to play that clip in just a moment, but before I get to that, I want to explain what is going on, why there's so much tension going on right now, what the U.S. is going to do about it, and why this could potentially be a problem for you and I moving forward. So I'll break that down in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So why would the Russian President Vladimir Putin, why would he warn Western nations that Russia has the ability to strike using nuclear weapons? Well, it's because of a few things. Number one, it was what the French President Emmanuel Macron said just this past week, where he actually alluded to the fact that European nations could actually send troops to Ukraine. Troops could go and fight for Ukraine against Russian soldiers. Well, guess what? Vladimir Putin didn't like that. He was not open to that idea. And that is one of the main reasons why he is threatening the West with nuclear weapons. Now, I want to play this clip, okay? And the reason why I want to play this clip is because of what he says in it. I will play it, I will stop it, I will read a little bit of what he's saying just to fill you in, but there are some subtitles here, so that should help a little bit. But listen to this.
Запад спровоцировал конфликт на Украине, на Ближнем Востоке, в других регионах мира и продолжает лгать. Теперь вот без всякого смущения заявляют, что Россия якобы намеревается напасть на Европу.
So he says, now the United States is saying without embarrassment that Russia is allegedly intending to attack Europe. Now, there is some, it's not speculation, okay? It's not just speculation. There is some intel that has made it very hard because it's showing that Russia does plan on attacking parts of Europe, okay? Certain close countries. Let's keep listening to that.
Ну просто мы же с вами понимаем, это
He
несут
says we're
бред
talking
просто.
nonsense.
А при этом сами выбирают цели для нанесения ударов по нашей территории, выбирают наиболее эффективные, как они думают,
Says the United
средства
States' most
поражения.
effective choice is
Заговорили
destruction.
о возможности отправки на Украину натовских военных контингентов.
Now, I want to go back to that one thing right here. He said they started talking about the possibility of sending NATO military contingents to Ukraine. That's not all of the United States. Okay, that's not the U.S. that is talking about sending troops to Ukraine. It is other European nations. France, one of them. Now, one thing I can tell you right now is, and I don't think we're going to hear it in this piece, but something that was said is the Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that if we want to see what could happen, look back and see what happened before with Germany and with France, okay, years ago in the past, because he stated, but now the consequences will be far more tragic. It's because of the weaponry that we have now compared to what we had back in like the 1960s or something like that. Let's keep listening to what he has to say though.
Тоже есть оружие, которое может поражать цели на их территории.
He says we too have weapons that can hit targets on their territory. Talking about the United States and also Europe.
И что все они придумывают сейчас, чем пугают весь мир, что все это реально грозит конфликтом с использованием ядерного оружия.
Right there, he says all this really threatens a conflict, including the use of nuclear weapons. This is the problem, that we're countries that have nuclear weapons. Russia and Russian President Vladimir Putin, he's never been shy about potentially using those weapons. In the past, he's talked about putting nuclear weapons in space. So he's not against using them. But using a nuclear weapon is going to be massive destruction for the entire world. Now I want to show you something else. Okay? Because right now, the United States does not have plans to send U.S. troops to Ukraine. We just don't. Other countries could. But here's the thing. If we do not get additional aid to Ukraine, and this is aid like weaponry, additional funding, okay, just things like that, ammunition. Well, the problem is that other countries are in the same boat, that they don't have the ability to pass additional legislation that would send additional funding to Ukraine. But they do have ample amounts of troops and munitions and equipment, things like that they can send. And so that's what countries are attempting to do, is send stuff that they have ample supply of in the event that, or right now, that Ukraine is asking for more. I want to show you this. It says the Pentagon is actually considering tapping the last source of Ukraine military funding as Congress stalls on additional aid. So the Pentagon is considering using this last little bit that we have. The last little bit. There's not much there. But, again, we don't know if it's going to happen. Here's something that we are hearing, though, that Biden officials are weighing giving Ukraine weapons without replacing U.S. stock right away or waiting for Congress funds. Here's what's interesting about that. Other countries are looking at the United States. The countries that are currently in conflict with the U.S. Russia, China, Iran. Those three countries. Iran has multiple proxies. There's Hezbollah, Hamas, and also the Yemen Houthis. Now, all those countries have current conflicts with the U.S. But here's the thing. If the Biden administration is considering giving our weapons to Ukraine without replacing U.S. stock, that's going to make us a little more vulnerable. That's going to make us weaker. And that's something that Pentagon officials have said we cannot do. But they're now considering it. The reason why I bring all this up is because, and it's not because I believe we are going to see a nuclear strike against the United States from Russia. I don't see that happening. I just don't think Russia would go to that extent, especially when we are not in a direct war. It's Russia and Ukraine. The United States is just helping out with Ukraine. Now, could this just be, Russian President Vladimir Putin striking fear amongst the American people? Possibly. Or, and here's the big one, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, there will be an election. I believe it's like the middle of March. There will be an election in Russia. And that's going to decide if he is going to be the next president for the next 6 years. I believe he has the majority of votes. I don't think there's really any opposition for him. But this could be one of those things. He's just saying this so more people are on his side. But here's what I can tell you. If he is talking about a nuclear strike, talking about nuclear weaponry, that's the ultimate attack. There's so much underneath that he is likely willing to do. So right now with Vladimir Putin saying that and warning the United States over a nuclear war, guess what? There's other things he could do. And the expectation, and based off of all the reports that I've read, there are people from Russia here in the United States that are willing to attack us if Vladimir Putin said, now's the time. So just understand that right now, there's a lot of issues between the United States and other countries. The problem is, it doesn't look like any of these issues are going to go away anytime soon. But here's the key. If we can help Ukraine get out of this war, if we can help Israel overcome that war with Hamas, that would be great. And if China can kind of back off of trying to reunify Taiwan with mainland China, the United States is going to be pulled out of a lot of these different issues, and the tensions around the world will slowly begin to drop. So it's kind of what we're hoping for at this time, but again, we will wait and see. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.